process may become miserable. And mind you, research is no joke. It's a commitment of a few months of your life. So you need to be very sure of your reason, your why. So there are 4 components of research that you must keep in mind. They are introduction to the problem, objective and literature review, methodology and analysis, results, discussion, and conclusion. So let me simplify these with an example. Let's suppose you're experiencing joint pains and weakness, and your general physician prescribes you with vitamin D supplements. But you don't have any prior knowledge on vitamin D supplements. You get curious and ask yourself, why do I need vitamin D supplements in the first place? And how would this supplement improve my condition? How long will it take to show results? Can I take it with other supplements, and at what time? And what should be like, would it increase, what would increase or decrease its efficacy? And how other people who have been using it have experienced better results? So naturally, you would have all these questions in your mind, right? So you want to ask your GP these questions, but he doesn't have time on his hand to answer these questions. So you go home and look it up on the internet, and you start a process of acquiring knowledge on the supplements, and eventually you get most of the answers. And you would believe that data you collected is factual because it already has been researched upon. Also, you would look up the reviews of different people on using the certain brand of vitamin D supplement, and you'll analyze your knowledge and data, formulate your results and conclusions, and start with your supplement of that brand that you think is suitable for you. And now you would better understand why your GP prescribed you that supplement, okay? So my point by quoting this example here is to indicate that you all have already been carrying out small researches subconsciously, like the ladies researching on the ingredients of the grocery lists or skincare brands, and men looking up at the prices and comparing, analyzing before purchasing. So research is everywhere. It's a crucial and integral part of our life. Now the question is how to conduct a research or how to conduct an impactful research. So here are 12 steps to help you conduct your research in an organized manner. First, you have to decide on a research topic, do some literature review, find out the literature gaps, formulate a hypothesis, write a research proposal, select your methodology, your sample size, do some data collection, analyze it, have some discussions and results and conclusions, and then you obviously put some references. So now you're presented with a problem. The next step is literature review. It's going to inform you about the previous studies that have been carried out on the same topic. First thing you'll find out is if the topic has been researched before. For starters, you can research on Google Scholar, ResearchGate, PubMed as your basic source of literature. So you have to download some related articles to your topic, maybe in an app or maybe just in a PDF form, and read them thoroughly. So you have to identify from the literature review, what you will identify is the methodologies they used, the findings, relevant information, the limitations, and you will also be looking for the research gaps. So now the next question arises, how to write an efficient literature review. After compiling all knowledge, you have to write a literature review. What actually is a literature review? It's a paragraph that summarizes and interprets the finding of previous studies to provide a foundation for new research. Okay. So while writing a literature review, you must aim for clarity, concision, and critical thinking. Here I've used the word citation. The word citation used here is actually a very fancy word for references of a source of information. Like you would like to refer to the source of information that you're including in your research. So it can be an information that's either a direct quote, a paraphrase, or summary. So the main important two roles of citations are they give credit to the original author and allow the readers to locate the source materials. There are different types of, there are different styles of citations actually. There are DOI, APA, MLA, and Chicago, and they will be explained further in our next web series. So, keeping it to the basics, we have to select the research topic. So, conceptualize that a research study can ask three types of questions. They can be either descriptive, relationship, and difference questions. The descriptive questions is they're usually asked what is questions or what are questions. So, for example, what are the attitudes of students on having 1 hour lectures? Like, do they get bored? Do they get irritated? Are they able to keep their stamina? Then we have relationship questions, like which have association questions. In this, for example, is there association between self-esteem and eating behaviors? So you will be evaluating the association between self-esteem and the eating behavior in people. Next, we have the difference questions. They are usually the comparison questions. So usually they're between like a control group and experimental group. Like people who sleep early have less stress hormones than the people who stay up late, right? So we have these three kinds of different research questions. These questions, what is the importance of these questions? They actually help with the design of the study and choosing the type of data analysis procedure. Next, we have state the problem and formulate a hypothesis. So there's a difference between a statement, problem statement, and hypothesis. The problem statement is a statement. It's specific and clear. And whereas a hypothesis predicts a definite outcome, right? They may be either a question or declarative form. They may include inherent subproblems if appropriate, and formulation of problem statement takes place after the initial review of related literature. Okay. So the key point here is to note that the formulation of a problem statement takes place after the initial review of the literature, of the related literature. Okay. So few of the examples of problem statement are: the problem of this study was to, this study was concerned with, this study is designed to, the purpose of this investigation is to. Like you can see, these are all the examples of the problem statements. After doing this, you're going to present with your problem. So now, after developing a hypothesis and doing literature review, acquiring previous research knowledge, and identifying the research gap in literature, we can make a research proposal. The situation is quite similar to this. So you were introduced with the problem, you live with it, you've known it for some time, and you want to proceed with it. So you propose it. If accepted, you'll have a green light to proceed with your research project. So now do you see the similarity? So research proposal, what does a good research proposal has? And why do we need a research proposal? Research proposals are usually presented to the governing institute for acquiring ethical clearance. So if you're conducting a research on humans, you would definitely need a research proposal or an ethical clearance certificate. A good research proposal includes a title, an introduction, definition, rationales, objectives, and hypotheses. In the methodology component, you can take idea from the literature review on what methodologies were used previously, and you can follow a similar pattern for data collection, analysis. And this content will be discussed in the upcoming webinar, so I will not be discussing it. I will not be elaborating it right now. Next, we have the ethical considerations. So you have to mention the confidentialities of and consent dimensions, which include informed consent, confidentiality, voluntary actions of the participation or voluntary participation, ethical approval, and references. So as mentioned earlier, Literature review will give you an idea of what research methodology you should follow. So there are a few types of methodologies as stated here. They are qualitative, quantitative, mixed methods, experimental, survey, case study, and action study. So for starters, I would recommend you to go with the qualitative research. I'll explain the reason as well. The qualitative research are basically explorative and they're descriptive researches. So they describe the qualities, the human behaviors. It has a narrative analysis, like there's a narration going on. The sample size is small, between 30 to 50, more or less. It's conducted through in-person interviews, so you can get an instant feedback, and you can also factor in the emotional state while or during the interview, okay? So it gives you a rich contextual descriptive findings. For starter, this is a really good research methodology and it's less complex than others, if not all. Then next we have the quantitative research. It is specific, focused, explanatory, predictive, confirmatory, random sampling. The sample size is usually larger and it is conducted through surveys or questionnaires. It is more experimental, and the key points to consider here are the sample size here is comparatively larger. It's predictive, experimental. It has a questionnaire. And it uses software for statistical and numerical analysis. So that's the difference between qualitative and quantitative. Then we have the mixed method research, which includes both qualitative and quantitative researches. They have components of both. Like you can use a survey or questionnaire to gather data or collect data. And then you can, in that questionnaire, you might include some qualitative questions as well, interpreting the behaviors of the students or the participants, sorry. So through literature review and methodology selection, you will have an idea about the sample size. Like the previously, when you're going to the literature, we are going to know that the previous studies that have been done, what sample size they used, how they collected the data, what was their analysis criteria, and what basic analysis procedures they used, what results were implemented, what results were concluded. So these are all the ways, like these are all the knowledge that you can get from the literature review, and that you can incorporate in your research as well. You'll get an idea of it. You're not supposed to copy paste it, but you can get an idea of it, or you can base your research on it. So you will have a sample size, then you'll have a data collection, analysis, discussion, results, conclusions, and in the end, the references that I have already mentioned during the literature review about the citations. So I'm breezing through these just topics because they will be discussed in our new webinars as part of this series. So to summarize it all, you have started a problem, developed a research topic, did literature review and find the research gap, developed a hypothesis, made a research proposal, selected your methodology, sample size, data collection, analysis, and now you are like almost done. Like you have written you have all the knowledge, all the data, everything to start writing your article, and most of the components you have already written. So you will go on with the journal selection and then submitting your research. One of a very frequently asked question by many students if they can use AI to help through the research process. So I'm like sure that most of you already have these question, and you might already be using AI for most of your like assignments and like during your exams and everything. So, well, to answer this question, internationally, it's still being frowned upon, but then what other modern inventions were not frowned upon, like the mobiles, internet, etc. But now everyone's using it, so I think this will play a crucial role in our like future lives and in research as well. This is still a gray area for now, but AI jurism rules will soon be formulated and implemented. Until then, my recommendation is to use AI responsibly. Like, take help from it to brainstorm, but rephrase it, humanize it, but don't copy paste it. It will be detected and it will be causing you problems in the future. So that was all for today. If you have any questions, you can ask. Do I have any questions in the chat?
No, Dr. Ghazala, not yet, but it was a very informative and insightful session. Okay, so Dr.
Sure. Yes, Sirusa, sure, you can get these slides. And this session will also be available on YouTube. You'll get the link of it. So, Dr. Farooq, how many sessions will be in this series? I think
five. There are five.
six.
There are five sessions.
There are 5 sessions. Sure. I would like to ask all of you, did you guys understand what I was trying to like? Did you get my message? Okay. How to ensure our results are not biased? Like, there are different ways to ensure that your results are not biased. That will be discussed. Yes, good. Vinita, basic idea. I wanted that. So, you will be you will have more knowledge of the biases and how to prevent it and the different kinds of biases in the next web series. This was just a fundamental basic concept. Like, for me right now, I want all of you to know that do you get like all the steps of how to conduct a research and like how you can proceed with it. Yes, sure, why not? You can conduct research in any year. Yusuf, you can conduct research in any year. Do you guys have more questions, or I think that would be all? If we do not have any other questions.
Dr. Ghazala, Dr. Vinita has also asked how to do literature review, which is the first step basically.
Yes, so how to do literature review, which is the first step. Literature review, first you're going to do is just go through Google Scholars, PubMed, ResearchGate. You have to download or you have to go through all the research articles which are related to your topic. You're going to read them, and then you have to like write a literature review which would include all the summaries that you have, like you've gained all the knowledge. Like, this article mein they said this, in this article they said this, so these were the results of this article. You will compile it, you will summarize it as your own literature review. Okay, literature review is like you're reviewing those literature, okay, whatever is present in the literature. And I would recommend to go like for the past you can look up the articles as previous as like 5 to 8 years. Okay, and you have to give citations in it, you have to give references. Okay, so do I have more questions?
Yes, Dr. Ghazala,
After knowing all this, tell
2-3 questions.
mentorship. Okay, so Nara, for mentorship, you can like I mentioned while starting this, my first publication program by Pride. You can join that. We will mentor through your first publication. We are here to help you through the process, and yeah, you can start there. And the main like benefit of Pride is that you guys have supervisors here. You guys have mentors who will not judge you for not knowing anything, and you'll be given your due credit. So yeah, become a member of Pride and start your research today. How to determine the sample size for study? So this Mahrij D. Okay. So to determine a sample size, first you need to select a study. if you like, for example, I mentioned very basic two studies, like I've mentioned, actually three studies I've mentioned, like a qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods. So if you're doing a qualitative research, as I mentioned, it's very concise. It has descriptive. It's done with interviews. So in that you can have, for example, if I say that I want to research on people, on students who are facing depression while during their medical life, okay, or during their medical study life. So for me, you can see that there's now an inclusion criteria and an exclusion criteria. I cannot go about ask or have all those people in my sample who have not faced depression during that time period. So that also limits my sample size. The limitations and exclusion inclusion criteria also plays a role in the sampling size. Then I would say that I want to sample, or I want to study this on a sample of 30 students who have faced this, and in a specific area. Maybe then for when you're doing a quantitative research, it's usually cross-sectional sort of research that is done on a like a larger sample size in a specific area at a specific time. So and that can vary, like usually for on average, I think the sample size has been like between 300 to 400. So okay, what do you recommend for first year BDS students starting research? Okay. So, Umar Ahmed, your question, what do you recommend for first year BDS students starting research? You should start by looking around. First, observe that what are the problems, and then look those problems on the internet, on different resources that I've mentioned, on the Google Scholar, ResearchGate, PubMed, that the problem that you are thinking that you want to research on is already, that topic has already been researched on or not. And then you can start with the same process, literature review. Then you have to develop your hypothesis. Then you have to give your research proposal if it involves like humans, or you're considering humans, live humans or subjects as your subjects. So these are the basic steps. And yes, I would recommend you to have a supervisor as well who can guide you through the process. Like which articles do include, and full text articles hard to find. Okay, Vinita, you're asking me which articles to include. Like for example, you're searching on TMJ disorders. You have to write the keywords in these search engines like PubMed or ResearchGate. You have to write the keywords as TMJ disorders for the past 5 years or 8 years, and all those articles, all the researches that have been done on the TMJ disorders for the past those years will appear, and you can just download those and go through them. And full text articles, yes, they are hard to find. I understand that, but your universities might provide you with an account, maybe, or maybe providing you with access to these articles. If not, then there are other ways, or you'll have to go for the paid ones. Okay. Is Hushi Dembra? She's asking, in research, is important to collect from specific areas? Depends on you. Like, if you want to keep it to maybe if you belong to like a specific area, for example, you belong to Islamabad and you want to keep it to Islamabad, or you want to keep it to maybe your institute, the place you're working, or maybe you want to like do it all over Pakistan. It depends on you. Okay. So you have to define that in your topic. If you're doing a specific research, is that generalized research, or is it like from a specific area? Okay. If I write, for example, if I write that I'm going to conduct this research on the medical students or the dental students in Pakistan, then I have wide range of participants or wide range to collect sample from, okay? To collect data from. Okay, so can we join Pride in your mentorship? Sure, sure, sure. Yusuf, sure you can. Why not? Then there's Arusa Kainat. Can we publish a research article individually, like if we get a peer reviewed or our supervisor approves? Okay, Arusa, to answer that, there are research articles which have been done individually, but most of the which I've seen and which I think is most appreciated, more articles which are appreciated are the articles that have been done by a team instead of individual. The more the merrier. It's advisable to keep the team up to like 5 or 6 people, and they have a better chance because they're not just looking at like you got this, you did this on your own. They're also looking at if you can work as a team member. And that also in the bias, the question there was about biasness, it also like um, has a little bit of link to that as well. So how can we work on international research projects? Acha, okay, Maharij T. Okay. Yes, you can work on international research projects if you are like going through, like most of the people, what they do is they go through the profiles of the authors. They connect with the authors, they email them, they tell them that I have read your this article and I'm impressed by it. Go through the, like, you have to research on the author first, like you have to email them about their work. And if you know that they're doing or they're conducting another research that you're interested in, you have to tell them like what you can bring to the table. Okay. So after that, hopefully you get a positive response and they do include you in international research projects. And I would urge you all to like apply for these researches because you get to learn a lot from them. Like I've mentioned in my lecture that initially you all should be like helping with the data collection, questionnaire formulations, and like basic small components of the research till you actually understand how to conduct it. And research, you can go through, like you have so many slides, you have so many materials on the internet, on like Google and Wikipedia and everywhere. You have lots of information on this. You will not understand how to conduct a research unless you actually do it. You have to have a hands-on approach to this. Okay. Is there a platform where we can get research articles? Know that for sure. Thank you, Zunaira. Excuse me, Arusa Kainat. Our college is making us write a research paper in group with the help of a supervisor. Excuse me. Okay, so Arusa Kainat, your college is making you write a research paper in a group with the help of supervisor. But they said they won't get it published. Can we get published somewhere else? If any platforms for that? Yes, sure. Why not? And coming back to my first slide, you must know your why. If your college is making you do it and you do not want to do it yourself, then please evaluate, self-reflect on that. So guys, if you don't have any more questions, I think this will be all. Thank you all. You have been a lovely audience. I hope you all learned something useful today. Stay kind, stay and happy researching. Good day to you all.
Thank you, Dr. Ghazala, for such informative and insightful session. And there was a one question who was asking about the next session. If you have paid for that session as well, then you will be definitely get the email as well about it. Okay. And for the certificates, we will be only giving the person who have registered for this session. Okay. Thank you very much for the time. Jazakallah. Allah Hafiz.